First of all, if you believe in the existence of sympathy votes, then hold on to it. But in this discussion, I urge you to put your beliefs aside for a few minutes and let us think outside of the box. In the end, if I did not necessarily convince you, then that is fine. But if I did, then that will be fantastic. In this particular video, I will try to pontificate from different perspectives. I will also connect the dots so that you can get a clear understanding. If you are new to this channel, kindly do click on the subscription button. And if you enjoyed the video along the way, remember to give it a like. Thank you. Now back to the discussion. Let us dissect why the sympathy votes is meaningless. Number 1. Tribalism. In Kenya, tribalism is pervasive and perpetual in nature. A cohort of Kenyans tend to think and vote along tribal lines. Politics is at most local. In a group of 5 individuals, you can bet 4 are tribalists. In addition, antipathy for other ethnicities expedites tribalism. Guys, look here. Sympathy votes doesn't exist in a tribalistic environment. Let me substantiate. A typical Kenyan will say, as long as one of our own is in the government, then we are sorted out. Let me go even deeper to explain this. Majority of us are handcuffed to the belief that if a politician who represents our tribe is in the government, then our tribe as a whole automatically gets favored in terms of employment, status, or ascendancy. With that in mind, let us look at the bigger picture. In Kenya, we face economic and unemployment problems. There are regions in this country where people live from hand to mouth. For Kenyans who are facing livelihood difficulties, it will be impossible for you to tell them to have sympathy for a certain politician and vote for them, especially if that politician hails from a different tribe from them. This is because they feel that if that politician gets elected, then he or she will favor people from his or her tribe. Furthermore, they see that their suffering will continue while other rival tribes prosper. It is the mentality of a Kenyan. That is why you hear Kenyans saying in the local dialect, huyo hata kama ni mwizi, ninampenda na hiyo uwizi wake. Mimi bado nitampa kura yangu. If you are unaware, this is a tribalistic sentence. Alternatively, it portrays a voting pattern determined by tribal affiliation rather than ideologies and policies. Now tell me, where does sympathy votes have meaningful aspect in this juncture? If we talk about sympathy, the bottom line is that Kenyans will vote for their tribesman or woman. This ties with the belief that representation equals favorism, meaning that if they vote for a politician of their tribe, then their tribe attains first slot privilege. The idea of sympathy votes goes out of the window. Again, politics is local. Kenyans don't care about a politician who needs sympathy, unless it is one of their own. However, few do have sympathy, but significant number do care about solutions to their problems and needs. I mean, how many times have we seen people promising to vote for a person outside of their tribe, but when they arrive at the polling station, they revert back to their tribal senses, and they vote for a person who belongs to their tribe? Why does that happen? It is because they feel that the person of their tribe will cater for solutions to their problems and needs, and also gets favored in terms of employment and status. And one more thing, sympathy vote is an antinomy. In Greek philosophy, an antinomy is defined as a mutual incompatibility of two laws, or simply, a statement which contradicts itself. The antinomy here is sympathy and dirty. We all ascertain that politics is a dirty game. How can you have sympathy in a dirty game? And within this dirty game, you may feel sympathetic for a politician who is a deceiver. and that politician cleverly disguises himself or herself to garner a bit of sympathy. We again acknowledge that politicians like to deceive the electorates. Number 2. The deep state. Have you heard of the cliche, "Your vote doesn't count, rather it is those who count the votes"? We have to then ask ourselves, who are these people who count the votes? I will give you the answer shortly, but meanwhile, let us examine one thing. If you sympathize with a politician whom you think is being targeted unlawfully by offering your vote, know that your vote doesn't matter, unless it matters to those who count. Your sympathy vote might be passed to another person whom you did not intend to vote for. Without being superficial, sympathy votes can only be meaningful in a free, fair, verifiable and transparent elections. But why? Because in that scenario, you can be assured your sympathy votes will count. Nevertheless, a free, fair and transparent elections never occurred in Kenya. Furthermore, the IEBC, which is supposed to be an independent agent, has been infiltrated from every corner by certain faceless forces. We have heard of cases where the commission got hacked. Consecutively, that means that your sympathetic votes got hacked as well. Let us not go there. Earlier, I promised to give you the answer to those who count the votes. I think you already know by now. It is the deep state. You might ask, how do I know that? Well, every country has a deep state. The deep state are a network of influential people. They control and manipulate certain aspects and affairs in a country. They mainly conduct political decision-making. In Kenya, the deep state have been around even since Jomo Kenyatta's era. Decisions made by Jomo Kenyatta were partly influenced by the deep state. They had their hands in each sector in Kenyatta's reign. In a deep state framework, the sympathy vote doesn't matter, or it doesn't have meaning. This is because if they are against the person who is being sympathized for, they can simply manipulate the votes against them. For instance, in 2017 general elections, a good number of Kenyans felt sympathetic for Raila Odinga, whom they felt his victory was rigged in 2007. Then a majority of Kenyans casted their sympathetic votes for Baba in the repeat elections. But did Baba win? The answer is no. Why? This is because the deep state played around with the normal Mwananchi votes, including the sympathy votes, and they were against Baba at that time. I want to emphasize again, sympathy votes can only exist in a free, fair, verifiable and transparent elections. If your votes can be manipulated, you can't say they are meaningful, right? Number 3. Electoral fraud. I think we can all agree that no elections in Kenya was ever conducted without rigging, right? In Kenya, there are diabolic ways in which votes get stolen. It can either be through using agents, bribing chiefs and returning officers, voter suppression, and voter intimidation. Ask yourself, if normal votes get stolen continually, how can sympathy votes survive? I am not saying that one can identify a sympathy vote on the physical appearance. No, I am simply saying that sympathy votes is just like a normal vote. In that case, they can also be stolen. Let me explain why sympathy votes is meaningless in this phenomena. Assume there are two candidates running for a state office, okay? Also, let us assume candidate A got 100,000 sympathy votes plus 50,000 normal votes, whereas candidate B got 90,000 normal votes. We will additionally presume that candidate A was the one being sympathized for by the majority of the electorates. However, the magic of rigging can change the outcome drastically. In that case, you can find that candidate A gets rigged about half of the sympathy votes or the normal votes interchangeably. Let us say 30,000 of the sympathy votes and 10,000 of the normal votes from candidate A goes to candidate B. Remember that a vote is a vote, whether it is sympathetic or not. It now means that candidate A remains with 110,000, while candidate B all of a sudden gets 130,000 votes. In addition, this happens cryptically without you noticing. Mind you that rigging happens from every region. That is why you find after rigging, most of the time, the gap between the person rigged and the one who gains from the rigging is proximately marginal. I am not admitting that all electoral fraud occur in this manner, but the example I gave you is a typical one, especially in Kenya. Aside from that, the existence of rigging testifies the meaningless of sympathy votes. Well, how? Simply because sympathy votes has no legs to stand on a rigging platform. Or in other words, you cannot expect a hyena to guard a piece of meat for you. When you vote, you don't know if your sympathy vote is in safe hands, knowing that corruption exists. Impossible, right? It cannot survive on a corruption enterprise. Well guys, we have come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, remember to give this particular video a like, and also remember to subscribe. Thank you. Let me hear your thoughts down on the comment section below. See you in the next video.